Hello and welcome to our third session of IELTS preparation. In this session, we are going to talk about a little bit more on writing and reading. I always ask you to read a lot, and the reason of reading a lot is understanding how to write. All these readings, all these writings are written by some people, maybe in Band 8, for example. And it means this structure that he wrote here, these paragraphs are got 8. And it means if you do exactly the following in his writing and follow his writing ability, you will get 8. On the other hand, reading can be useful for your reading skill, reading section. How? When you read a lot, you will increase the reading speed. The speed of your reading will be increased. And this uh, increase can be useful for the scan and scheme part for your reading. You can read a lot, you can read fast and understand fast and do the exam in a short manner of time. So read a lot to understand everything about how to write and increase the reading speed. Okay, the question is, as computers are being used more and more in education, there will be soon no rule for teachers in the classroom. Do you agree or disagree? Remember, this is writing task 2. In IELTS exam, you will have two type of writing task 1 and writing task 2. In writing task 1, you will get more or less roughly 20 minutes, maybe 15, maybe 20, some sort of this. And you have to demonstrate a figure, a graph, I don't know, a table, something with some visualizing section, visualization part, like this one, a table, for example, or a bar graph, or let's see something more interesting, something like this, maybe. These type of graphs, I don't know, sinusoidal, bar graph, or something like this. You have to illustrate it. You have to say that it is raised, it is fall, during the time it is go sinusoidal, yes, something like this. And this is the all about writing task 1. You have to write about 150. And the reason is that in writing task 1, you can illustrate everything, but you can not, you could skip the conclusion part. Yes, conclusion part. You cannot write the conclusion. It is up to you. That's the right conclusion. And the reason of this is that here in writing task 2, you will have a question and you have to write your idea. All of guys, please, we are talking about the academic. The writing task 1 in generalized exam is a little bit different than the academic one. In writing task 1 of the general exam, you have to write a letter, I guess. You have to write a letter to some sort of, let's say it's general official something, that, for example, post office, I don't know, the bank, somewhere like this, that you have to express some ideas with 150 words. But in task 2, you will have to write your opinion about the generalized question. The reason of this is not to see what is your point of view. They are not seeking what you are looking at, how do you think, or what do you mind about something. No, not at all. They are trying to find your lexical resource, your cohesion and coherence, your grammar skill, and following the rules of the exam. And it means following the structure of the writing. Your writing should have a structure. And how can you find the structure of this writing? By reading many writings. Yes, by reading many writings, you can find it easily. Okay, the question is about usage of computers in education, and maybe it is disappearance, removing of the teacher's rules or not. In first paragraph of this type of writings, you will express the whole idea of the question. The question, first side, second side, your side. Where are you put yourself in this question? Where do you put yourself in this question? What is your opinion about it? The second paragraph and the third paragraph. These two, second and third paragraph, can be like, let's say it, examples, can be like, let's say it, facts, scientific facts. You can completely made up some scientific facts, I don't know. Or you can made up some examples about yourself in the same situation, or not, about someone else in the same situation and express it. It's completely made up. You can be a liar at the exam. At the end, look, you have two paragraph. Maybe you should have one paragraph. Maybe he should merge all these two as one. But you have a summarization paragraph that you have to uh, summarize everything. So, in, remember how many words? 250. Okay, but remember, he wrote a lot. He wrote 365 words. So be aware of this, that you have to write between 250. Okay. And how many words for the task one? How many words for the task one? 150. So 150 for the task one, 250 for the task two. Let's read what he wrote. There is no doubt that education and the process of the learning has changed since the introduction of computers. The search for information has become easier and more entertaining, and connectivity has expedited the availability of data. Though expert systems have made computers more intelligent, they have not yet become a substitute for the human interaction in the learning process. Okay, here, here he said, though, although, but, even though expert systems have made computers more intelligent, means yes, the computers are intelligent enough, but they have not. But they have not yet become a substitute for the human interaction in the learning process. What does it mean? It means yes, computers are intelligent enough, but they cannot be replaced. They cannot replace, but human cannot be replaced by computers yet. And then he said his opinion. In my opinion, what can be expected is a change in teachers' rule, but no their disappearance from the classroom. Nobody can argue with the fact that the acquisition of knowledge is more fun and easier with computers. Acquisition means gain, means achievement. The more activity of touching and exploring this device constitute an enjoyable task for a child. These accompanied by relaxing attitude and interactivity of software usually contribute to a better grasping of new knowledge. At the higher education level, the availability of digital books, simulators, and other academic materials provide the students with an ever accessible source of information that otherwise would not be at hand. So, I believe that the second paragraph is giving some advantages or agreements with the question that computers are useful. So I believe regarding the opinion, the second paragraph should be something against this second paragraph. The third paragraph is against the second paragraph. Let's see. But exactly, you can see he starts with but, he starts with a negative sign. But besides the increasing complexity and behavior of intelligent software, which is usually embedded in the academic digital material, the need for human interaction in learning process will always be present, at least in the foreseeable future. Foreseeable, look, means something that you can see and it's predictable future. Foreseeable means predictable. There is the necessity, it's like the necessary. There is the necessity for human being to be able to determine what the specific needs of each individual area of each individual are. The expertise of the teacher in how to explain and adapt complex concepts to different individuals can hardly be mimicked. Mimicked means simulation. Mimicked means something that you can make a small fake version of it. No matter how sophisticated the software is. So, in the third paragraph, he talked about he talked about some negative sides. As computers are becoming a common tool for teaching, teachers should be more aware of their role as guides in the acquisition of knowledge rather than transmitters of facts. So, he said, teachers should be more aware of their role as guides, as the person who can give you some information, not just transmit some information. Okay, look, guys, you can use this one. Should be more aware of. You can use this one in your writing. Should be more aware of something. Something should be more aware of something else. Okay, so you can have your small hints to how to use some words from this writing in your writing. They have to be receptive to the changes that are taking places, keep updated, and serve as problem solvers in their learning process, thus allowing students to discover the facts for themselves. میگه professors از استادا معلم چیکار باید بکنن؟ Keep updated and serves as a problem solvers in learning process. They have to be receptive to the changes that are taking place. پس میگه taking place receptive to the changes. بیاییم با هم دیگه روی این مسیری که چنج ها دارن اتفاق میفتن receptive باشیم، آپدیت باشیم و خودمون رو به عنوان یک پرابلم سالور در مسیر یادگیری حفظ کنیم. با این روش allowing students to discover the facts for themselves. با این روش به دانش آموز اجازه میدهیم که خودش چیکار کنه؟ حقایق رو کشف کنه. To summarize, in my personal view, teachers play and will continue to play an important role in the classroom, especially at the primary school level. No matter how capable computers become, there will be no replacement for human interaction, but in the way how its interaction take place. Look, so تو پاراگراف آخر اومد دقیقاً پوزیشن خودش رو که دقیقاً توی جمله آخر پاراگراف اول هم گفته بود رو دوباره چیکار کرد؟ دوباره بازنویسی کرد، دوباره ریپرافریز کرد، دوباره ارائه داد. So, be aware of this. He said something in first paragraph as his opinion, and in last paragraph he said again in a really summarization manner, to put in a nutshell in a last paragraph as the uh, his opinion and last paragraph. Okay. But remember, he wrote a lot. He wrote 365, but he wrote 250. Okay, be aware of this number of words that you have to write. Another one. Some says that oh wait. Maybe you can see it. Up to now, I read one writing, and it's take 15 minutes. So in every day, if you read, be aware of this. If you read about uh, wow, 10 per 10 10, yes, 10 is enough, maybe 10 writings in 15 minutes, it would be about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. But remember, 2 hours and a half, and reading carefully some writings, it would be really helpful for you for your writing skills. There is no clue that you have to write something a lot. No, when you write without any guidelines, without any template, you will repeat your mistakes again and again. But when you read something, you will be more confident that, oh, if I use this term, I will get 8. If I use this one, I will get 9. So reading is the key important point for your writing and reading. And listening is the key important point for your listening and speaking section. So listen and read. Some say that rich countries should help poor countries with trade, health, and education. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include examples from your experience. Okay? Give reasons means give some facts and include examples from your experience. Include examples from your experience. So you have to give some examples. I will say, in your writing exam, you should give some misal, you should give some facts and examples. Done. The first paragraph is illustrating, demonstrating, paraphrasing the question, two sides and my side. Done. Improvement in health, education, and trade are essential for development of poorer nations. Some say that the governments of richer nations should take more responsibility for helping the poorer nations in such areas. In my opinion, the aid of wealthy countries is imperative to fight poverty in developing nations. Okay. The first line, the question line. The second line, one side of the people, one side of the idea. And the third line is his opinion. And he is agree with helping from rich country to poor countries. Today's world has been divided into developing and industrialized countries, which the main difference between them is the amount of money that governments apply in important sectors such as education, health, and commerce. Most of the poor nations are buried in debt as a result of their unbalanced finance, which are reflected in the failed healthcare and unstructured education system and a weak international trade. This vicious cycle will continue indefinitely unless wealthier nations show interest in minimizing the worldwide economic differences, as well as taking more responsibility for assisting less fortunate countries. Okay, he said کشورهایی هستن که ضعیفن، به این دلیل ضعیفن که روی ایمپورتنت سکتورها پول اپلای نکردن گاورمنتشون، بنابراین ضعیف شدن. حالا این سیکل ضعیف زمانی قطع میشه که چه اتفاقی بیفته؟ wealthy country ها wealthier nation ها بیان و مینیمایز کنن world war economy difference رو. این فاصله طبقاتی جهانی رو کم بکنن by taking more responsibility، با گرفتن مسئولیت بیشتر برای assisting، برای حمایت چی؟ less fortunate countries، کشورهای کم بزاعت. Okay, most of African countries live in subhuman conditions. He is going to give some examples. He's going to give some مثال conditions because of the extreme poverty, upheaval, hunger, disease, unemployment, lack of education, and both experience and corrupt administrations. So, the devastating consequence of AIDS epidemic. What is the reason of using this? I don't know. In these countries could improve if the infected population were to receive free drugs to control the diseases, have access to health professionals, and get information on how to prevent its spread. But this can only be achieved through international help programs in which leaders of the world's richest countries donate medicine and also send doctors and nurses to treat and educate those in need. الان گفتش که آقا مثلا فرض کن AIDS the devastating consequences of AIDS اپیدمی بیماری ویروس HIV بیماری AIDS میگه چی؟ میگه این زمانی کاهش پیدا میکنه که have access to health professionals and get information on how to prevent the spread. به چیزای حرفه‌ای، به مدیسن حرفه‌ای دسترسی داشته باشن و اینفورمیشن داشته باشن نسبت به اینکه چجوری جلوگیری بکنن از انتشارش. حالا میگه این only can be achieved. اوکی، این مسیر اینفورمیشن زیاد و پروفشنال هلت زمانی اچیو میشه through international health programs، از برنامه چی؟ از برنامه‌های کمک رسانی بین‌المللی. leaders of world richest countries، رهبرهای کشورهای ثروتمند جهان دونیت بکنن، وقف بکنن medicine and send doctors and nurses to treat and education، دونیت بکنن دکتر و پرستار و سیستم آموزشی رو به اون کشورهایی که نیاز دارن. Moreover, when it is moreover means he is going to push his idea. Most of the poor countries rely on selling agricultural product and raw material to rich nations and buying industrialized products from them, resulting in a huge financial defects. این دقیقاً کشور عزیزمون ایرانه. Moreover, most of the poor countries rely on selling agricultural product rely یعنی وابستند، rely on وابسته این، آویزون اینیم. agricultural product raw material ما نفت خام میفروشیم، متریال خام to rich nations به کشورهای ثروتمند and buying industrialized product ازشون میخریم صنعتی شده پروداکت های صنعتی resulting in a huge financial defects که نتیجهش میشه چی؟ یک اقتصاد شکست خورده، یک اقتصاد به شدت شکست خورده. Consequently, they borrow a significant amount of money from the World Bank to try to improve their broken economies. But sometimes the money disappears with no significant change and they cannot even pay the interest to the bank. میگه یه وقتایی میان از چیز کمک میگیرن، از بانک های بین المللی میان کمک میگیرن to try to improve their broken economy، تا تلاش بکنن برای بهبود اقتصاد فلج شده شون. But sometimes اما بعضی وقتا money disappears، money تموم میشه with no significant changes، تغییر چندانی بهبودی ایجاد نشده، به حدی که they cannot even pay the interest، یعنی سود بانک رو هم نمیتونن برگردونن، خودمون تموش کنیم. Recognizing this as an issue that wealthy countries can resolve last year, the G8, which is comprised of leaders of the 8 richest nations, decided to forgive billions of dollars worth of debt owed by the world's poorest nations. میگه یه دفعه 8 کشور جهان نشستن گفتن آقا بیاید این اصلا بیخیال شیم. Decide to forgive یعنی بخشودگی. Billions of dollars worth of debt owed by the world's poorest countries. یعنی یه پول زیادی که کشورهای poorest nations بدهکار بودن رو ببخشیم. In addition, they developed adequate loan program to financially assist these countries. Okay. و به علاوه یه برنامه استقراض قرض دادنی ساختن برای کمک به کشورهای فقیر. In conclusion, leaders of the industrialized countries play an indispensable role in assisting developing nations in dealing with essential areas such as health, education, and trade. Their aid is the key to breaking the vicious cycle poorer countries are locked in, which results in poverty and death. میگه در نهایت این خوبه که اینا بیان کمک کنن. The idea was, yes, I am agree. The idea of writer was, yes, I am agree with the help from rich countries to poor countries. Done. But in second paragraph, he gives some benefits, he gives some improvement, he gives some, I don't know, encouragement of they are richest countries. In the second paragraph, he gave an example that how, for example, poor situations and lack of knowledge situations, especially in AIDS epidemic, can be helped by some rich countries by information and health professional aid. And then give more example about how the banks are broken. So it is better to get help from richest countries. This is how to write writing in 4 paragraph, 5 paragraph. Most of the time the last paragraph is too short to be called as a paragraph, but yes, it is a paragraph. So the first paragraph is illustrating the exam title, your side, 2 other sides. The second and the third are examples and facts, and the last one is the conclusion. Another one, popular events like the Football World Cup and other international sporting occasions are essential in easing international tension and releasing patriotic emotions in a safe way. Okay. Question میگه چی؟ میگه اگر بیایم به مسابقات پاپیولاری مثل فوتبال، ورلد کاپ اهمیت بدیم و کلا اینترنشنال اسپورتینگ اوکیژنز، موقعیت های بین المللی ورزشی اهمیت بدیم، این مهمه، این درسته، این بسزاست برای easing international tension. شما الان این رایتینگ میخوای بنویسی، از کلمه ایزینگ میتونی استفاده کنی برای ساده سازی تنش‌های بین‌المللی، برای کاهش تنش‌های بین‌المللی. And releasing، آزادسازی هیجان. Patriotic emotions، آزادسازی هیجانات میهن پرستانه. In a safe way، توی یک مسیر امن. پس صورت سوال داره، میگه اگر به مسابقات ورزشی اهمیت بدیم، اون رقابت‌های ملی گرایانه و نژاد پرستانه و بعضا ناسیونالیستی توی یک فضای آرامی میره به سمت حل شدن. You are agree or disagree? You are agree or disagree? Remember, these are writing task 2. you have to write 250. Every 4 years, the whole world stopped to watch international sporting events such as the Olympics and the Football World Cup, in which athletes show their best performance to make their country proud. آقا در تمام جمله اول اومد چی گفت؟ در تمام جمله اول اومد صورت این تکه popular events like the football world cup and the international sporting occasion اومد توصیف کرد. تا همینجاش اومد توصیف کرد. پس این یک خط اینجاست. حالا these sporting occasions have proved to be helpful in easing international tension in difficult times when powerful leaders were trying to control the world's economy and other governments were fighting over the land. حالا میگه essential in easing international tension and releasing patriotic emotion in a safe way. حالا میگه این جمله دوم دقیقا همونه. These sporting occasion try to prove. میگه این روش ها sporting events ها تونسته هلپفول باشه، کمک کننده باشه در کاهش تنش‌های بین‌المللی. بنابراین وقتی داره خودشونو میگه چیه؟ means he is agreed with the idea of the question. حالا میاد مثال میزنه مثلا The Olympic Games are one of the best explained examples which prove how sporting events can bring nations together, at least temporarily. From the ancient history when Greeks and Romans would interrupt battles to participate in games, to the more recent international disputes when athletes from Palestine and Israel would forget their differences, compete peacefully, and even embarrass each other after an event. Moreover, these popular events have called the world's attention to the terrible consequences of wars. Thus, some leaders have tried to reach agreements to end their disputes and live peacefully. بنابراین پاراگراف اول دو تا مثال زد. دیدین انگلیس رومان مثال زد، یه دونه اسرائیل فلسطین مثال زد. نکتهش چی بود؟ نکتهش چی بود؟ Moreover, these popular events have called the world's attention to terrible consequences of war. اوکی. laws میگه میتونن چی باشن؟ شرط جنگو میتونن چی باشن؟ میتونن شرایط جنگی جهان باشن. خوبه. have called attention towards. چرا؟ those میتونن شرایط جنگی جهان باشن. those بنابراین leaders have tried to reach agreement to end their dispute and live peacefully. یعنی میخوان که جنگ رو داشته باشن ولی توی این روش. Similarly, international sporting events show benefits in some developing countries which live in daily internal civil wars. یعنی میگه موقعی که خودشون تو جنگ‌های داخلی هستن باز شما رو میگن سمت چی؟ سمت صلح. For example, Brazil has a high rate of unemployment, lack of education, hunger, crime, poverty, and corruption, which leads to an immense embarrassment of being Brazilian and a low self-esteem. میگه حالا مثلا برزیل این مشکلاتو داره که شما رو از اینکه برزیلی بودی embarrass میکنه، خجالت زده میکنه و low self-esteem احساس نفس میکنه. However, when the football World Cup starts, the Brazilian squad, which is considered the best team in the world, provokes an amazing feeling of pride in their country. زمانی که بحث فوتبال پیش میاد دفعه همشون به خودشون مغرور میشن، چرا که بهترین تیمن. Most people seems to forget all their problems and even the criminal activity decreases. The paints wrote with the national colors, wear the Brazilian team shirts and buy national flags. Moreover, the competition brings families and neighbors together and even rival gangs watch the game and celebrate peacefully. و یه دفعه شما میبینید که خانواده ها دور هم جمع میشن و بازی رو ببینن و حتی گنگام تیمای گانگستری هم میشن با هم دیگه اینو میبینن. In conclusion, popular sporting events play an important role in decreasing international tension and patriotic feelings as history has shown. Liberting release خوبه. patriotic هم که یعنی وطن پرستانه، میهن پرستان. Okay. These are some examples of writing task 2. Yes, we will go more in detail for writing task 2, writing task 1, reading everything. But I just want to give you some hints that how you should read these writings. Some people believe that art gives our lives meaning and purpose. Others believe that it is merely a distraction from real life. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. یکی ساید میگه، یه ساید میگه مثلا هنر به زندگی ما معنی داده، یه ساید دیگه میگه نه، یه مزاحمت علکیه برای زندگی واقعی. In today's modern world, there is probably greater access to art than ever before. Nevertheless, the function of art remains an area of debate, with some believes that it is provides meaning and purpose to our lives, whilst others feel that it is only a momentary escape from more important issues. My own belief is that art is fundamental to what makes us human. دو تا چی داشتیم؟ دو تا سایت داشتیم. یکی میگه آرت چرته، یکی میگه آرت خوبه. حیا تو چی میگی؟ My own belief is that art is fundamental to what makes us human. تمام شد. Look, this writing is 292. It is a little bit much than you would get a good mark. A first point to consider is that the expression of our lives through art is one of the few things that separates humans from animals. Man is the only creature who attempts to reflect his own life through art, from such as painting. Furthermore, the fact that his art is often taken to mean the work of geniuses such as Picasso does not necessarily mean that art is only characteristic of modern man. Ancient cave paintings show that even in primitive times, primitive in زمانهای اولیه، قرون اول times, the expression of the world around was important to human. In my opinion, this is a strong argument for showing how vital art is to man. How vital art is to man. Is showing how vital art is to man. Showing how vital something to something. Showing how vital something to something. از این جمله بتونید تو رایتینگتون استفاده کنید. مثلا it is important showing how vital education for being developed countries, being a rich country, how education is vital for being a rich country. Vital is something that you can use. Some people believe that art is just a brief distraction from normality. However, one of the major uses of art is to lift people's spirits. The songs of the slaves provides an example of how music can help people cope with pain. Similarly, painting and sculptures are often used to remember historical events, keeping them alive in the culture. I believe this reflects a fundamental need. I believe this reflects a fundamental need to express our existence through art. اینجا دوباره نشون داد که اینایی که میگن چرته، مثلا هنری هنری برایف دیستراکشنه هنری برایف دیستراکشنه اینو دارن چرت میگن. Keeping them alive in the culture. I believe this reflects a fundamental need to express our existence through art. To summarize, art is something which has been a part of human history for thousands of years and helps people survive difficult times and express their existence. Thus, this is my view that art is much more than just entertainment. This is one of the defining characteristic of being human. دوباره defining one of the defining characteristic همون fundamental of being human. Let's talk a little bit about writing task 1. I said in writing task 1 you will give some, excuse me, I got cold. I feel like I got cold, I don't know. In writing task 1 you will get something like a bar chart, a graph, I don't know, a map, I don't know, a table like this one, and you have to illustrate it and you have to talk about it in 150 words. You can skip the conclusion paragraph and you just need to express what you are seeing here. For example, this one, oil product capacity estimated over the years 1990, 200, 2000, 2005, 2010, different countries in Middle East, and million of barrels per day. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and UAE, United Arab Emirates. The tables show the estimated oil capacity of 6 countries in millions of barrels per day from 1990 to 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So your key point is to summarize, give the main features, and do some comparison where it is relevant. Now let's see a model answer. The bar chart illustrates the estimated amount of oil produced in 6 countries between 1990 and 2010. This first line still is illustrating the question. Measured in millions of barrels per day. So the first line is nothing but the whole question. Overall, our production capacity tended to increase during this 20-year period. The figure, look, 20-year period. The figures for Saudi Arabia were significantly higher than in the other countries, while production was lowest in Qatar. He just overally expressed that Saudi Arabia is much than everyone else and Qatar is less than everyone else. From 1990 to 2010, there was a significant increase in oil production in Saudi Arabia. In 1990, just over 8 billion barrels per day were produced, and these rose steadily, reaching a peak of over 40 million barrels per day in 2010. In contrast, the smallest producer was Qatar, Despite a slight increase in 2000, production in Qatar remaining relatively stable at least 1 million barrels per day. The other countries saw a slight rise in oil products over the period. The estimated figure for Iran in 1990 was over 3 million barrels per day, compared with around 2 million barrels in other three countries. It was a comparison. 3 million barrels for Iran, 2 million barrels for other countries. Although production did not increase in 2000 in the UAE, the amount of oil produced peaked in 2010 in Iran at over 4 million barrels and at almost 4 million barrels in Iraq, Kuwait, and UAE. To comparison, more or less 4, 4, 4, 4 in 2010. And you can see that he just tried to compare, he just tried to illustrate the information of the graph, and nothing more, nothing deducible, no deduce, no deduction at all. Just try to give the information that the graph is given. In order to ask one, rain falling millimeters in 2013. Let's see. Writing model, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The first graph below shows the weight in tons of fruit produced by a farm during each month in 2013, and also the amount in tons of fertilizers used. Fertilizer means something that's used for increasing the speed of growth of the fruits. اسید نه اون یکی میگن چی میزنن؟ سمپاشی فکر کنم سمپاشی. The second graph, okay. Write a report, summarize the information, select to describe the main feature and make a comparison with relevant. Write at least 150 words. این برای fertilizer، این برای product. خب the chart give information regarding the tonnage of fruit produced in a farm per month in 2013, the fertilizer used, and the monthly rainfall in the year. Monthly rainfall in the year. The second graph showed the volume of rainfall in each month in millimeters. We can see the fruit productions rose steadily from just over 2 tons in January to a peak of roughly 4.2 tons by the August. Output then fell rapidly, declining around the initial 2 tons mark in December. However, looking at fertilizer use, we see that this sinusoidal pattern is largely reversed. The most fertilizer, just under 1 ton, was utilized in April, followed by marked decline to 0 in June and July. Fertilizer consumption then increased slightly in the autumn, rising at a total of around 0.7 tons before dipping to just below 0.5 tons at year end. At year end. You just give the information. You just need to read this one and the number, this one and the number, maybe this one or this one and the number, maybe this one and this one and the number, this one and this one and this one, and at the end this one and the number. You can see rising, falling, rising, little slightly rising, falling. It's called sinusoidal pattern. Regarding rainfall, this appears to reflect the use of fertilizer with an early high of 16 millimeter in February, falling consistently to 4 millimeter in July, August, and September. Rainfall then increased steadily to reach 14 millimeter in December. In summary, this farm generally employ the most fertilizer at seasons of high rainfall, and by contrast it produced the most fruits when both rainfall and fertilizer use were around their lowest. So it produced the most fruit when rainfall and fertilizer are the lowest. Let's say it is true. For example, June, July, August, and yes, it's produced the most. Okay, so these are something that you can use in your writing, and you can understand from the writing, and these are could be useful for your writing. But the reason that I always ask you to read is because of your reading speed. You have to read fast. Why? Because why you have to read fast? Because in your reading, you will get, I don't know, C, D, E, F, G, H, about about half paragraph, different paragraph, and you have to read it so fast. There is no other way to fight for the reading skill. You have to read everything, and you have to read and understand it. So you have to increase your reading speed. Okay. Next, we talked about the step pyramid of Josser, and we wrote these two paragraphs first, and now we are going to read this third paragraph. Look, in reading, as I always said, we have about 12 type of questions. All the questions are related to the passage, and all the questions are detailed questions. Look, when your, I don't know, IS instructor told you, no, go for a simple scan and scheme and go read the questions, and it's nothing, it's easy peasy, you can handle it so fast. No, it is not like this at all. Believe me, you have to read, because all the examiners, all the test makers are, yes, they are IELTS teachers as well. So they know all the hints, they know all the cheating skills that you have. They know all of them. So when they have everything, they will try to make questions as complicated as possible. How? By asking you some tricky questions that you cannot figure out completely. Oh gosh, am I going to select this one or that one? Should I select this one or that one? And this is the most trap that all the students got in. So read everything with the speed, with the fast. When you read it, you will get more confident that I know everything about the passage. You have 1 hour for all the three writing. So for the three reading, sorry. So each one should about 20 minutes. And remember, in two first minutes you have to read the passage, maybe 3 minutes, and the rest of the 17 minutes is for answering the question. 17 minutes is enough for answering, I don't know, 13 14 questions. That's enough. That's fairly enough. So no frightening, no hesitation, just read the passage. Done. Paragraph C. When you have these type of marks A, B, C, D, E, F, G, means that the first question is about to give some headings to each paragraph. Look, where is the first question? Here. Headings to the first paragraph. Question number 14 to 20. And remember, in all writings, let's say it, in all readings, the questions are chronologically going down. Means the first question is about the first paragraph, the second one for the second, the third for the third, and so on. Maybe at the middle you will have some two question, one question, three question for two paragraphs, but most of the time if you go for the last question of each question, for example reading one, it's for the last paragraph of the reading one. Done. So you can find the answer there. Okay, this pyramid has been roughly examined and investigated over the last century, and it is now known that the building process went through many different stages. Historian Mark van de Meerop, I don't know, Mark van de Meerop, it's nothing, it's just the name, you can skip it. Comments on this, writing much experimentation was involved, which is especially clear in construction of the pyramid in the center of the complex. It had several plans and something before it became the first step pyramid in history, peeling 6 levels on top of one another. The weight of the enormous mass was challenging for the building, who placed the stones at an inward incline in order to prevent the monument breaking up. All this from here to here was the comments of Mark Van. Were finally completed, the Steps Pyramid rose 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city in ancient Egypt and included a temple, courtyards, shrines, and living quarters for the priests. It covers a region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall of 10.5 meter height. The wall had 13 false doors cut into it, with only one true entrance cut into the southeast corner. The entire wall was then ringed by a trench 750 meters long and 40 meters wide. The false doors and the trench were incorporated into the complex to discourage unwanted visitors. If someone wished to enter, he or she would have needed to know in advance how to find the location of the true opening in the wall. And Chaucer was so proud of his accomplishment that he broke the tradition of having only his own name on the monument and had Imhotep's name carved on it as well. The burial chamber of the tomb where the king's body was laid to rest was dug beneath the base of the pyramid, surrounded by a vast maze of long tunnel that had rooms of them to discourage robber. One of the most mysterious discoveries found inside the pyramid was a large number of stone vessels. Over 40,000 of these vessels of various forms and shapes were discovered in storerooms of the pyramid underground passages. They are inscribed with the name of rulers from the first and second dynasties dynasties of Egypt and made from different kinds of stone. There is no agreement among scholars and archaeologists on why the vessels were placed in the tomb of Joseph or what they were supposed to represent. The archaeologist Laure, Jean-Philippe Laure, who excavated most of the pyramids and complex beliefs they were originally stored and then given a proper burial by Djoser in his pyramid to honor his predecessors. There are other historians, however, who claim the vessels were dumped into the shaft as yet another attempt to prevent grave robbers from getting to the king's burial chamber. Unfortunately, all of the precautions and intricate design of the underground network did not prevent ancient robbers from finding a way in. Djoser grave goods and even his body were stolen at some point in the past, and all the archaeologists found were a small number of his valuables overlooked by the thieves. There was enough left throughout the pyramid and its complex, however, to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavated. Egyptologist Miroslav Warner writes, few monuments hold a place in human history as significant as that of the Step Pyramid in Saqqara. It can be said without exaggeration that this pyramid complex constitutes a milestone in the evolution of monumental stone architecture in Egypt and in the world as the whole. The step pyramid was a revolutionary advance in architecture and became the archetype which all the other greater pyramid builders of Egypt would follow. So, I guess it was not more than 5 minutes, and even I read really slow. It was not about 5 minutes, and maybe for two first other paragraph, for about 10, no, 10, no, 7. All in 7 6 minutes. In 6 minutes, you would read all the paragraphs and then go to the answer, and then go to the questions and do the answers. So it is our third session. In other session, we will go through more details of how to handle the exam. Thank you so much for your attention and see you in the next session. Bye bye.